Hello, this is Nikki from My Healthy Beginning. And if you are wondering why glyphosate is so stinking dangerous and where it might show up in our food cycle, then this video is for you. All right. Oh, this big load and this right here. Let's talk about what these have in common, okay? So the use of this dangerous herbicide, which is the weed and grass killer, is a case in point. I'll leave this little showcase guy right here. It's quite heavy, actually. It's used in our farming and crop raising and destroys our microbiome along with the chemistry of our brains. It destroys our bones, our ligaments, our tendons by fraying the collagen fibers connecting our structure. So we see kids in here like age 10 with things like spinal fractures and, tears in the knee and things that shouldn't be happening to normal healthy kids doing normal level of activity. The problem is their bodies are way too toxic, and things that would normally be really, really strong for them, those fibers are now fraying, and then they get these tears and they get these injuries, which become repetitive over time. Glyphosate disrupts the enzymes and pathways our body needs to create energy. So our mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, needs to create energy to move, needs to create energy, needs to move energy. The simplest way to put it is we take in these amazing macronutrients to fuel our body, to fuel the cells, to fire up all of these systems, all of this chemistry that goes on in our body. But if that is not happening, we're sort of the little engine that could, right? We're like always creeping our way up the really, really, really long hill, and we can't quite ever get over the top. We can't ever quite feel the way we want to feel. So total disruption to those enzymes and pathways. Small farms are quickly being replaced by chemical farming, which we see driving down any rural road. So the goal is to rely on your regenerative farmers local here to the Twin Cities, just two off the top of my head. One is Pasture Addicts in Buffalo, and the other is Nature's Patry Farm in Lafayetteville. Or Lafayette, I forget which one. Regenerative farming is getting the chemicals out of our system over time. We can eat these grass-fed meats, and regenerative farming is working in harmony with the natural seasons and processes. Chemical farming saves money on the cost of labor to grow our food, but at what cost in the end, right? So we're used to fronting the cost. We're used to actually our insurance companies and fronting the cost for our healthcare, right? So it doesn't occur like we have to invest in our health when the cost is so drastic to us that if we didn't have a healthcare system, which isn't really working anyway, then what's left is you have to forefront that cost. You have to invest in your own health and well-being to manage these things. So the chemicals used to enhance the growing process of the soil by changing the chemistry in the ground then shows up as both changes to our microbiome and our neurochemistry, like what's going on up here. This is why they call gluten the silent killer, because if you don't have this over, bloating, inflammation, gut issue, then what you have going on is stuff in the brain that you might not notice or see or feel until you've got that tremor or you've got that early onset dementia or Alzheimer's. Those are all directly correlated to gluten, which is the correlate is glyphosate in terms of toxicity. In the 90s, Monsanto released GMO soy and corn, with the active ingredient being glyphosate. Because it's used directly on the crops and as a drying agent, not only is soy and corn affected, but it's why our grains in general are so toxic. And what do we live on as the most inexpensive food around, right? Are grains, bread. But this, I noticed, has the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, so we should be good there, right? Not the case. If we are going to be consuming grains, we need to take both of these out of the picture, actually. We need to remove glyphosate. So we need to decrease the toxicity in our grains and eat only organic grains if we are going to consume grains, such as to decrease the overall glyphosate load, both on our microbiome and on our brain. So glyphosate and bread, two things you probably didn't think had anything in common. If you are looking to optimize your health, you can find us online at myhealthybeginning.com or give us a call at 612-418-3801.